What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 23 of the College Loop Podcast, the Isaac Okoro podcast, if you will, or the Michael Jordan episode, whichever one you want to go with. But yeah, we are recording about 10 minutes after the Auburn Iron Bowl basketball game, that thing that happened, which was a very close matchup until around 2 minutes left in the game, where the same old happens, where you just really don't know what any Auburn player, especially Wendell Green, is thinking in the last 2 minutes of the game.
It was another one of those cases, Dylan, where you start wondering, right, about where's the game planning, where's the presence of time. Sure, you're down 4-2.5 against one of the best, if not the best team in the country. And I understand the cause for concern. There's no cause for panic. Auburn effectively kept themselves in this game. If I kept themselves in, they didn't trail much throughout the duration of this game. I think that what Jay Billis was saying on the broadcast was that Auburn, until the last 2 minutes, had led that game for all but 3 minutes, and there were over 10 lead changes. And I know that sounds like Auburn fans, you probably want it to be Auburn the whole way through. I get it. I understand you want your team to do well. But in the same token, Dylan, there's this element of when you're playing one of those teams, if you're in the game, you're giving yourself a chance to win. And in those last 2 minutes, after keeping his team in the game for, I guess, 38 minutes, and Wendell was on the floor 36 or whatever you may have, you got in front of you how many minutes.
ESPN has not updated that yet. I'll pull up that.
But after keeping his team in the game, Wendell Green just shot his team out of the game. It's another one of those situations where you're down 4, but you don't really need a 3. You've got 2.5 minutes left in the clock. Janai Broom's been playing well low. Jalen Williams had been coming up big, like we talked about, had to come up big. Brandon Miller had been kept at bay, and you choose to shoot the 3, and it all starts to unravel. And there's going to be plenty of Auburn fans that are going to blame # the refs. And you said they played 32 minutes?
32 minutes.
And 30 of them were very, very good minutes of basketball. And but as I was saying, Dylan, a lot of Auburn fans are going to be doing the # the refs and whatever. And I get it. I understand the frustration. But at the same time, Dylan, we've said it for weeks. If you leave the game in the hands of the referees, bad things happen. So this one, Auburn should have won this basketball game, or at least given itself a real chance to not look like it got defeated by 8 points, because it really didn't. It lost this game by 3 or 4. And it was tough to watch. And I know that there's a lot of unhappy Auburn fans, but there were some bright spots.
Yeah, and if you look at Brandon Miller went into this game averaging 19 points, he only scored 13, which I think is a huge win. Shot 0 of 7 from the 3, and I would say they successfully slowed down Brandon Miller.
Sure, absolutely.
And you look ahead, Wendell Green did score his season high 24 points. Jay Wills put up 16, and a very impressive game from KD Johnson.
Remarkable game from KD Johnson.
Started off, he did not miss a free throw. Not a single free throw was missed by KD Johnson, and we were kind of like hesitant to mention it during the game because as soon as we bring it up, he's going to miss one, but he did not. I mean, he shot as well as KD Johnson usually does, but
as well as KD Johnson can.
Well, yeah.
This was the best performance. I know it was only a 12-point outing, right? 12 points from KD.
12 points.
If you see me looking over to the right, we've got our little 2-monitor system going on right now, and the absence of Daniel Locke is because I'm sure his voice is shot. He was in the jungle today, so let him ream from this loss.
Wearing his Wendy's name tag.
That's right. As he got dunked on Twitter, make sure you make that the clickbait. But this was one of those moments where you go toe-to-toe with one of these premier teams in the league, and with the premier team in the SEC, and you wonder, Dylan, are there even the right pieces on this team for them to compete in the tournament? Because if you're not playing big time in clutch moments, even if you don't win, if you're not competing in big moments and late game situations, you're wasting your time in March.
And it's worth noting, I bring it up every time Auburn loses. I look right at the bench as soon as the game is over with, because I'm like, who put up the numbers? And I mean, KD Johnson did. And I mean, you look at Allen Flanagan, put up 7 points, 6 rebounds, which I guess is like a decent game for him.
Sure.
Janai Broom only put up 8 points. He was not there offensively. He got there defensively with the rebounds, and he had a block, but the points just not there. And you look at, besides KD Johnson, the 4 other bench players that went in: Semo, Dylan Cardwell, Trey Donaldson, Leroy Berman, 2 points
combined. Yeah, I mean, it was a tough night from the bench, and you knew that was going to happen, because, as I use air quotes here, deep, excuse me, hiccup, as Auburn is, Alabama can go toe to toe, if not more, in terms of rotational guys. But if you just look at the starting five, let's look at some things that Auburn did well, Dylan. Let's talk about this for a second. I thought Zeb Jasper played outstanding defense this game. I thought for, like I said, 30 of his 32 minutes, Wendell Green Jr. played fantastic basketball. Janai Broome left a lot to be desired today. And we've seen him kind of absent and as of late and kind of big moments. And that's no discredit to him. I think he's in a slump. And sometimes that happens. Jalen Williams stepped up and dropped 16 tonight. And that was one of the guys that we said going into the game. Jalen Williams has got to step up and kind of go toe-to-toe with Brandon Miller. He did. He outscored Brandon Miller. Was he tasked with him on defense? No. Was that probably for the best? Absolutely. Something that Auburn fans should also be kind of encouraged by. I thought that Auburn's smaller guards, which is every guard, I thought they did a pretty good job of keeping bigger guys at bay this game. Ultimately, you go toe-to-toe with one of the best teams and you get in foul trouble late. 9 out of 10 times you're going to lose that game. And this one just did not fall the way that Auburn fans wanted it to. And Dylan, there's not really a whole lot more to it other than the fact that they've kind of got to get back up on their feet and get ready for midweek.
Yeah, and it's blanking on me who we're playing on Wednesday, but I know I think
you get Texas A&M. No, I'm sorry. Wait, you're looking at the women's hoops. My apologies. About to say A&M was last week. My boy. But it's another one of your gauntlet games. But I'm almost positive it's the Missouri game. Yep.
And I had it in my mind.
Tournament team.
Yeah, another tournament team, and you got to get right. And we keep saying this. I mean, Auburn's losers are 5 of 6 now at this point, and you wonder if Auburn stumbles a little harder, Dylan. Is this team in the tournament?
I mean, you look ahead, the winnable games left on Auburn's schedule. I say winnable very loosely.
Sure.
Because there are a lot of games that I've looked at in the schedule I thought were winnable, and they were not.
Sure.
Missouri, you have to win that game. That is a must win.
Non-optional.
Capital every letter must win. Kentucky, I think, is now a must win.
Sure.
And Ole Miss, that you hope that's a win. That's the easiest game left on your schedule.
Sure.
And you think you have to beat Tennessee at home.
Oh, you absolutely do. Yeah, you're right. I don't. There's not a game on the schedule left that you can really afford to lose. Accepting the fact that Auburn fans go ahead and get it through your skulls. Auburn's going to get swept by Alabama this year. It's going to happen. If you lost in the jungle, you're going to lose in Coleman Coliseum. And this was one of those games that the environment felt right, and it felt like the vibes were on, and that it felt like this was going to go Auburn's way. But we felt that a bunch this year, and it's really just mind-boggling to some extent. Like you said, there's only a handful of what you would consider air quote given wins or gimme games. Not that there's such thing as that in the SEC.
I said there's only one statistically, but I know Auburn could mess that up in a heartbeat.
Oh, sure. And I agree with you. The amount of talent on this team and the quality of production has been mind-bogglingly bad. I mean, it is just unprecedented. But that being said, I mean, this team could turn around and kind of get hot. But I mean, the Auburn's in the danger zone of people calling them like below mid, which is concerning. You're really going to need a couple guys to get hot that are not named Jalen Williams, Wendell Green Jr. and Janai Broome. But Janai Broome's got to resurface. And I sound like I feel like I'm rambling a little bit here, Dylan. A lot of this is instant reaction, right?
Yeah.
Can we talk for 2 seconds before we pivot over to women's basketball? Because I mean, we really are just kind of beating a dead horse here. Dylan Cardwell's been really not good over the past handful of games, and he looked lost today.
He had that one highlight dunk that Dylan Cardwell is always good for, but you can't trust him with the. I'm trying to figure out. Let me find out how many minutes he actually played, just so I can talk on this in length. He played 12 minutes,
and most of that was because Janai Broome got in foul trouble.
Yeah, I think he played the last 5 minutes of the first half, and then he played sparingly throughout the rest of the game.
Right,
but Dylan Cardwell is just not there offensively, and he's rarely there defensively.
Sure.
And he was really good at blocking shots before Auburn got into conference play.
Yeah, and now he's leaving his feet early again.
Yeah, and we thought this was a massively improved season from Dylan Cardwell going into SEC conference.
We gave Dylan Cardwell our non-conference most improved player of the year.
Exactly, and now he has definitely shoot himself off of that list. Alan Flanagan got himself back up there, but he needs to resurge again.
Shot selection's got to get better for Alan Flanagan. It's that simple.
And you hope Trey Donaldson at some point can find his shot again. I remember he was a microwave starting off the season, and where's that been?
It's disappeared.
Someone's unplugged the microwave, and you're trying to make ramen.
Yeah,
he's just not there.
Right. And to your credit, Dylan, you've talked a lot about the Johan train. You didn't see Johan at all tonight, this afternoon rather, and you wonder, could he have plugged in and worked a little bit better than Dylan Cardwell? And I'm not necessarily being that critical of BP as much as something's got to give. And I don't know that, like, I hate to keep going back to that interview with Jake Goins, even though it was awesome, but I hate to keep quoting him. This team just kind of is what it is. And you're going to have to live and die by that. If you're not up or not on fire going into the last couple minutes of the game, you are in serious trouble. And I think that this roster is kind of all complimentary to that. Speaking of big absences, let's talk a little bit of women's basketball. And obviously last time that we spoke to you guys and you guys tuned into the College Loop, we previewed Auburn's what would eventually be a blowout loss to South Carolina with Caleb Jones. Things went exactly as you expected, and Auburn struggled throughout the duration of that game. They actually went toe-to-toe for 2 of the 4 quarters with South Carolina. By toe-to-toe, I mean they only got outscored by like 5 and 7. So there's that. You had your one bright spot on your team, really, or your 2 bright spots were, I guess, City Shaw, and then Sinai Wells had a sneaky good little game, and then Marshawn Bostic always seems to find a way to get into double figures. So an incredible performance from the Auburn guard perspective, but you're missing Aisha Coulibaly. Honestly, Scott Grayson didn't really seem like she was there. She was super limited into her role. I'm not sure she's 100%. And they get to play, you guessed it, Alabama tomorrow, just to add insult to injury. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. I guess not tomorrow, but today when this show comes out, that'll be this afternoon that they're playing that game during the Super Bowl. So Lindsey Crosby brought up a great question to me the other day. Over under 20 fans that are not family in the arena for Auburn, Alabama.
Oh, is it? It is actually. It's during the Super Bowl.
During the Super Bowl.
Oh my Lord!
5 p.m. tip off.
Might be under.
Yeah, I think it's an under for sure. And also, I wanted to take this opportunity to say
is that Eastern time? Because it's 5:30 Central. The game might.
It's 6:30 Eastern.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think that it's really kind of funny to talk about the fact that, or I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about what I said on the Auburn Daily Show with Lindsey Crosby on Friday. This is an insult to women's basketball and a failure by the SEC. I just want to plug that real quick. When the Super Bowl is years in advance. They literally announce the dates years in advance. It's always on the same Sunday every year, by the way. It never changes. And it's kind of like Thanksgiving being the third Thursday of November every year. You know it's going to happen. So that's just an insulting move from the scheduling perspective of the SEC and a disservice to women's college basketball, especially when you have such a good slate. You have LSU going to a sold out in Columbia, Colonial Life, right? Yeah. Colonial Life Arena, and taking on number 1 USC in what should be an awesome game. You have an awesome slate of games on Sunday, and then you just do this to the Iron Bowl. I understand that these are not top echelon teams right now, but like, what the heck are you doing? And I think Auburn has a real opportunity to get some vengeance there, considering they're playing their best basketball of the season to this point, despite the blowout loss, just like everybody else in the world. And quite possibly LSU will suffer to South Carolina. So let's just keep the ball rolling here, Dylan. Actually, kind of a shorter show today, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's not that we tried to cut corners. It's just kind of how things shook out. Football's been a little quiet. Knock on wood. I don't know if you heard me or not. I spoke with Lindsey Crosby a little bit on Friday. If you want to check out our recruiting analysis, very similar to what we talked about here on the College Loop, but we kind of rehashed the potential of Auburn taking a couple of running backs in the 24 class. Other than that, and there's not a whole lot going on until the portal window opens again. So that gives us the opportunity to talk a little bit about Bree Bombs and Auburn Softball and Company. They started off their season this weekend. Dylan, talk to the people about how that went down.
So we are 4 games into the NFCA, that's the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association Leadoff Classic, and Auburn is starting off 3-1.
Yeah. And
I can't do math that quick, but it looks like we are outscoring opponents a lot to 7 out of these last 4 games, losing to Pitt 8-7, but you have a win over St. John's at 6-0. Fordham is 9-0. Indiana's on their 9-0. So if I'm going to do quick math real quick, that is, I believe, 32-7.
I believe you. I had to take math a couple of times when I was undergrad.
And we still have one more game that is going to be today as this comes out at 11:30 Central Time. I'm currently in Eastern, so it's going to throw me off.
Sure.
But yeah, Central Time. And we were actually wrong. I put up a little funny poll.
Yeah, right. I saw. I participated.
Who's going to get the first homer? And it was Bree Bombs or Bree Ellis. Bree Bombs won. I think it was 10-0 was the total. And we were 10 people were wrong.
Yeah, all of us were wrong.
Nalia Peralta got the first home run of the Classic and the season because, and if you also look ahead to the next game, Aspen Godwin had a walk-off grand slam versus Fordham to end the game in 6.
This is, encouraging for Auburn softball to pick up right where they left off in 2022. And Caleb Jones brought up a really good point when we talked about some softball with him on Thursday on a show where actually shout out Brie Ellis. It sounds like she got to check out the show and listen. So really, really glad she got to check out the Loop, friend of the program now, officially friend of the program. But like I said, very encouraging for Auburn fans to see the Tigers pick right back up where they left off in 2023. They are going to, no question, they're going to get pitchers fits and nightmares. People are going to have bad dreams about having to pitch to the Auburn Tigers. The real question is, is everybody going to be able to stay A, healthy, and B, consistent throughout the whole season? And most importantly, is Auburn going to be able to continue the dominance that we saw in the first slate of games, excluding the Pitt game, which that's one of those Power 5 conferences in the early going. And it's a close game. You really don't write it off. It's actually a great experience. But is Auburn going to be able to keep up the momentum that they've already built in the circle? Is Shelby Lowe going to be able to stay healthy all year? Is your rotation going to be able to complement each other in the way that Auburn thinks it can, in the way that we think that they can? So a really, really big opportunity for Auburn to close things out strong this afternoon as the show comes out. And then I believe it's the Plains. It's either the Tiger Invitational or the Plainsman Invitational that comes first. It's next weekend. And they get to play St. John's again and bring St. John's back to the Plains, play them one more time. Actually, possibly twice, depending on how that all shakes out.
I'm trying to pull up the Indiana score because it looks like Auburn is outscoring all these guys, all these teams, without Briella scoring a single run.
Yeah, but she has 2 ribbies. I know that for a fact.
Yes, she is.
She had 2 ribbies in the Indiana game, possibly.
But yes, I think so.
Yeah. No, she had two ribbies in the Pitt game. Excuse me.
Or the last game they played that it has up here. It does not have Indiana up here yet.
Yeah, that was the Pitt game.
Yeah.
So she had Brielle already has two ribbies and no home runs yet. So God bless the pitcher that has to throw to her this afternoon. Because God knows that she's hungry to get another one. Just like the rest of this lineup. I mean, from top to bottom, man, Michaela Packer, Denver Bryant. You can just keep naming off people, and you're like, wow, slugger.
Only 2 home runs, actually.
Slugger. It was Aspen Godwin, slugger. I mean, this is just a loaded lineup and a group that Auburn fans should be very, very excited about, Dylan.
Yeah, we talked about it in length last episode that the ceiling for this team, I think 2 or 3 of us out of the 4 on that show said that the ceiling is Oklahoma City. Or I think it might have been unanimous that we all said that was the ceiling. Sure. And the floor for this team is not hosting a regional.
That's what I said. I firmly believe that. And then how do you not have faith in a team that gets some new drip? I mean, you saw those new uniforms that softball unveiled. I mean, I know we're going to talk about baseball in a second, but softball, those uniforms, #things that go hard. If you look up uniforms that drip, those come up immediately in the dictionary of all, the almanac of all uniforms in the history ever.
Good Lord, I cannot wait until they're in store. Yeah, because I might be getting me a baseball jersey and a softball jersey.
Verbal meme, the video, the kid just slamming his credit card on the table. That's a good deal. That's me. Let's pivot real quick. Let's keep talking about Diamond Sports teams that get new uniforms. Oh my Lord, these Auburn uniforms are sick. These baseball uniforms are dope.
If you haven't seen them yet, go check them out. Please, dude. They're worth the price of admission and getting them.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm assuming they're going to be around $80, and
yeah, that's what I gave for mine.
Might be worth to break the bank for those jerseys.
100%. I was telling Billy earlier today. So for those of you who have yet to see them, they are worth. You just go on the Auburn Twitter, check them out. Auburn Instagram, check them out. And Auburn rolled out a cream jersey for weekend games, which is gorgeous off-white, looks incredibly good. And they've gone with all script writing on both of their new sets. Their other set is a navy blue that they're wearing a navy hat with just a white AU, no orange outline on the logo. I'm a huge fan of the orange accents, but I love this look. Very, very classic.
Now all we're waiting on is the powder blue Bo Jackson era BP uniforms. And I think that would probably complete the circle of life, because now you've got the pinstripes in the rotation. You assume you keep their grays in the rotation. The home orange with script writing, the navy script writing, the cream with script writing. That's 5 uniform combos.
It's crazy that Under Armour only gives Auburn baseball the best uniforms.
I mean, those basketball orange jerseys uniforms are pretty sweet.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, why are we getting orange football jerseys?
Yeah. We're not getting into that.
I'm gonna get into it. It's been a quiet football season, off season for the past 2 weeks at least.
Another
give me the orange jersey rant for now.
Another conversation for another time, Dylan. Simmer. As soon as we get to the all Auburn, all orange game this fall for football, I'll let you talk the whole week about how Auburn should have orange jerseys. But let's talk a little bit about baseball, and I've got some exciting news coming up on the loop this week that Dylan doesn't even know about, so he's about to find out. Lindsey Crosby should be joining the show on the Thursday show, so very excited to welcome him on. He's either Tuesday or Thursday, I can't remember which one. He said Sunday's not going to work, but he told me I should definitely put it in my calendar. So maybe I should tell you about that next time, so we can put that down.
Well, Tuesday, Thursday works better, because that's actually going to be I think Thursday will be the preview episode for the Indiana series that takes place.
Absolutely.
Next Friday, February 17th at 6 p.m. Central, I believe. Yeah, the next Friday.
But Auburn's got a lot of young arms that they're going to get to test this year, and kind of play around with in the non-conference season to try to figure out what works, what doesn't work. And Lindsey Crosby of the Auburn Daily and of Locked On MILB Prospects is going to be able to join us. He is the guy for Auburn baseball. If you don't follow him, make sure you do, because he is where we get all of our information on Auburn baseball. And he's very excited to talk about these young freshman arms that we really think could be an impact, because the big question is not in the field. It's not in the offense. It's Auburn going to be able to get it done in the mound and in the bullpen. And we know what Joseph Gonzalez can do. And we know what Armstrong can do. There's a handful of guys that are coming back that we are confident in. Thomas Sheehan coming back in his first full year after RC surgery, or Tommy John rather. Talking about myself, I'm talking about RC, not Tommy John. But coming back from that first full year of recovery after Tommy John surgery, we expect a lot of production out of him this year, late games and 7 to 8 inning or 6-7 inning appearances rather. And I'm fired up to talk some Auburn baseball. I don't want to plug too much just yet, because one, I'm just not going to be able to do justice like Lindsey's going to be able to. And two, I'm not going to keep rambling, because I know you want to talk a little bit.
Yeah, Lindsey Crosby is going to be getting the mic for that episode, because my knowledge is overshadowed by Tarr's knowledge of baseball, and Lindsey Crosby is Godzilla compared to what Tarr is.
You're not lying. Baseball. You're not lying.
That's going to be a very fun episode, especially if you really love Diamond Sports, because that episode is going to be chock full of it, barring any crazy Auburn football or basketball news happens.
Yeah, we've got some exciting news that we're not ready to release yet. But speaking of Diamond Sports, a very exciting interview coming up soon. Something that we're very excited about. Hopefully our interview subject is as excited as we are to talk about it. And something that we're really ready to roll out for you guys. That's going to be a College Loop exclusive. You're only able to get it here on all of our platforms. So make sure you guys stay tuned on that front. We've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up, a lot of cool interviews, and a lot of hopefully fan interactions. Y'all just hit my inbox with those mailbox questions. That'll make my life so much easier.
Yeah, he's tired of having to make different burner accounts. So
I don't make burner accounts.
He's sending in his own mailbox questions.
Don't make burner accounts.
But this would be a great question if someone asked me. So it's like, at Tarr Burner, hey, by Harrison Tarr, can I what can Auburn do to make it to the tournament?
Yeah. Speaking of burner accounts, let's talk real quick before we get into wrapping this thing up, because it's like we said, today's gonna be a little shorter today. We know it's Super Bowl Sunday, and we'll plug our Super Bowl picks right before we get into our little typical outro spiel that you folks definitely turn off the broadcast before we even get to. Jokes, please listen to the end. You never know what might pop up there. But I did want to speak for a quick minute. By the way, who's winning Super Bowl? I'll go ahead and plug that.
Oof. Well, I'm gonna be rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Do the Chiefs win the Super Bowl?
I think that the Chiefs are gonna win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I like the idea. I was talking to a good friend of mine, Alex Barker, friend of the show, that I think it's kind of cool that we're living in the era of the next upcoming GOAT.
I think you're right.
And just watching Patrick Mahomes just do what Patrick Mahomes does. I mean, he lost Tyreek Hill and he's still in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
And it's cool. I mean, I started watching the NFL around the same time Cam Newton got introduced and then got drafted. Sure. I was a Panthers fan because of him. I'm a Panthers fan long after him. But it is cool because, like, I didn't get to see Tom Brady through the first 12 years of his career.
Right.
And now I watch Patrick Mahomes get drafted. I can use that, and I know it's like an apples to oranges comparing a first-round draft pick to a 7th, 6th-round pick, whatever Tom Brady was, now retired. But I think it's just cool living in the era of the next GOAT, and I'm going to be rooting for the Chiefs.
I won't be. I'll be cheering for the Birds, but and I do think that the Kansas City Chiefs are probably going to win this Super Bowl.
But huge congratulations to the 3 Auburn players who are on the active rosters.
So intuitive. That was my next
with,
play.
Aaron Cepas, who is injured. He will not be playing in the Super Bowl, sadly, but he is on the team and was the starting punter for the huge chunk of the season. I think it was 13 games.
Right.
And Prince Tega Wango on the Kansas City Chiefs. He just get decent minutes at, I think, left tackle is what he plays. He plays a tackle. And, oh, Lord, who's the other one that's blinking on me? There's an Eagles player. There's another Eagles player.
I really just thought it was 2.
I think there's 3. Oh, Lord. I feel bad.
You can plug that while I plug the Auburn Twitter moment of the week.
Go ahead.
And this one's a unanimous decision. I haven't conferred with Dylan about it, but this is going to be a unanimous decision. The Auburn Twitter moment of the week happened about 15 minutes before the Auburn Alabama basketball game that we're recording right after. And let me just say, Daniel Locke, who, as we mentioned earlier on this show, whose absence today, a Bama fan tried to dunk on him. It was all in good fun. It was very funny. And someone said, "Oh, Jack Driscoll, I'm sorry, tackle, who was literally in Auburn last year or year before last." Anyways,
yeah, he does not get near the minutes.
No. Now there's your 3rd Auburn alumni to be in the Super Bowl this year.
Congrats to those 3 for putting in the work, getting the Super Bowl.
Right. All the fun things. No, I was just not going to cut you off. Auburn Twitter moment of the week was Daniel Locke wearing his name badge. As if you don't know, Daniel Locke is on the senior staff for the Auburn Jungle, the organized student section. So he does a lot of making sure that kids don't like trample each other, like Dylan and I got trampled our senior year. So that was super fun. That was over a year ago now, in case you want to feel old. Anyways, yeah, that's a lot of fun for you. But
my back does hurt,
Bama fan quote tweeted because Daniel had actually done a very charitable thing and taken photos with some notable Bama Twitter personalities, and had posted he was wearing his little name tag with some Bama personalities, and someone said this guy's wearing a name tag like he works at Wendy's, and that's hilarious because then Daniel said, "Damn, I got." And my response to this, which I know Dylan, you were sitting there watching our Twitter presence having a stroke.
I was driving, so
I'm glad you weren't watching because I thought you were going to have a stroke seeing this because I know you get on to us for things that we say online sometimes. Yeah, I responded, "Did someone say Wendy's?" As in Wendy's. I
do remember you saying that. I did catch that.
And that whole interaction was wildly out of pocket. But it was hilarious that someone told Daniel that he works at Wendy's, and he's not here to defend himself. So that's the Auburn Twitter moment of the week, in my opinion.
I caught it after. I think it was either when I got to your apartment or I was stopped at a stoplight or something, and I kind of just looked at my Twitter for 3 seconds.
Right.
And I was like, I'm getting added a lot.
Right.
I went to go see what it was.
It happens.
And I was like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, honorable mention and for Auburn Twitter moment of the week, which segues us into our last segment. We will be very, very not very brief. We'll talk about this as much as we want, but we won't make it too long. The guys who paint up at gymnastics meets, you are ridiculous. You are chaotic. You're out of pocket, and we love you. It burns my eyes a little bit because some of you guys probably should wear a shirt, but you don't, and you paint up for this team. This hashtag this team. And I respect this. And then that brings us to our last little segment. You didn't think I was going to forget gymnastics, did you?
I had scrolled over it a little bit. I did not mean to. I was just going a little quick.
No, did not.
But
quick little synopsis, Dylan. Go and give the rundown real quick.
So Auburn beat number 9 LSU. We were a little wrong on the rankings, but it was a top 10 win for the Auburn Tigers. They won 197.75 to 197.5. And if you can believe it, it's shocking news, really. If you don't know, Suni Lee is her. She has an Olympic gold medalist that claims that she is her, and she got another 10, her 9th career 10 in 2 seasons.
Yeah, no,
we're not even halfway done.
Yeah, no, she's not anywhere far. She's so far from done in terms of earning 10s, and job's not finished for Suni Lee. Job's not finished for this group. outside of her, Darian Goborn had a great night. Sophia Groth had a great bounce back night after struggling a little bit at Alabama, not a ton, but struggled a little bit at Bama. Had a really good bounce back night. I saved this segment for last because I'm seeing how long people actually listen to the show. That was kind of my logic here. We're running a social experiment for those of you still listening. Cassie Stevens, man, Cassie Stevens, the like, I guess not resurgence, but the development of Cassie Stevens and her skill set. First off, nobody does it better than Cassie Stevens on the beam. She is just lights out time and time again. She's as clutch as they come. Auburn needed big scores. Cassie Stevens said, "All right, bet, step aside. I got this." She brought energy. She competing in the all around. Her scores have just continued to progress all season. And Dylan, if you take away, obviously Suni Lee is her. In the all around, I mean, Darian Goborn, very strong on vault, very strong on floors, can get it done on even bars and holds her own on the beam. Cassie Stevens might be the most valuable gymnast on this team outside, not named Suni Lee.
Yeah, I mean, what she does in the all around is outstanding, and not to discredit Darian Goborn for how great she is on the floor. Like, I don't think it was awesome last night that Auburn clinched the win,
and she just didn't care.
We did not need God Save the Queen to win the meet,
and you still got it.
And we still got it. That was an extra bonus point. And I just try to highlight one of the stats that we talked about yesterday with Daniel, who's covering it. Auburn had a season high on the floor.
Yeah, when you're watching, you're sitting there by Darion's rotation. You're like, oh, there's no way this isn't the season high.
I think it was I think it was a 9-8, then it was a 9-9, 9-9, 9-9, 7-5, 9-9, 7-5. Like,
in my opinion, and this is probably some swayed opinionated talk here, aka bias. That's some fancy words for bias. I thought Suni Lee and Darian Goborn got robbed of 10s on the floor. And no one's doing it better than that duo. And this team is so strong. They're going to make such a deep run, Dylan. And I'm immensely looking forward to being able to see them again in person, both on the plains, and already bought my tickets for SECs. Very excited to take Mama Tar to that. So if you listen this long, go ahead and tweet at us and let us know who is your MVP not named Suni on this team. I'm just curious. This is, like I said, purely a social experiment. You can drop it in the comments if you're listening on YouTube. You can do whatever you want. Hit us up on Facebook, whatever works best and whatever makes you happy. We just don't have a LinkedIn yet. Otherwise, I think that's really going to put a nice bow on it. This team is going to be, they get to compete against another top 25 team in Missouri next week. And they kind of run a gauntlet of a schedule because they're in the SEC, but they don't really care. So a lot of fun going on in Friday Night Heights. That's right. We'll put the crown on, right?
Yep.
Dylan, I'm going to go ahead and plug myself because this is weird. I usually pass this off to Daniel in terms of, plug yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to follow Daniel's work, which I don't know why you'd want to do that. I'm kidding. I love you, Daniel. Peace, love, and working at Wendy's. His byline is or his Twitter handle is at Daniel J. Locke. You can find his work at the Opelika Observer, Weagle 91.1 FM, and Eagle Eye TV. Probably other places that I don't know about.
Does he have 4? Is there 4 outlets with his name on it? Because he 4 for 4.
Yeah, well, yeah, he hosts a focus on the Eagle's Nest. Yeah, yep. On
the Daniel 4 for 4.
That's right, the Daniel 4 for 4. I'm at Harrison Tarr on Twitter. If you want to check out my written work, you can find that at the Auburn Daily. I'm also on the Auburn Daily Show, hosting with Dylan Larck on Wednesdays. The wonderful Lindsey Crosby, who you guys will get to if you've not already meet this week. We're very excited. I have an interview with him. That's on Fridays. You can check that show out Monday through Friday. Dylan's, I'm sure, going to plug that here in just a second. And obviously, you can find all of my unhinged Twitter tweets that are reposted by our page at the College Loop. So make sure you check that out and subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. We definitely want to see those numbers go up so we can make some sense out of doing some other stuff on YouTube. If you guys can give us a reason, we'll do it. So, Dylan, hello, you're Dylan, hello, in the same room. It's been a pleasure, buddy. Let's get out of here.
All right, you can follow me at your boy the Tank on Twitter. That's at YABOI the Tank. You can also catch all of my work on the College Loop, where I do all the graphics for the most part. At least 90% of them are mine.
True.
And so that's at the College Loop. You can follow us anywhere except for MySpace. That's YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Apple Podcasts,
people.
Instagram. Did I say Facebook?
Facebook.
Yeah. All the 9 yards, and we're gonna get a LinkedIn soon, apparently. And you also catch me on the Auburn Daily Show every Monday and Wednesday. Wednesday with Harrison Tarr, Monday with Lance Daw. Comes out every day, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. But with that being said, it's for the College Loop Podcast.
Let us know what you think of Headband Harrison. And if you're looking for an internship, make sure to hit us up.